Legal professionals of Reddit. What's the funniest way you've ever seen a lawyer or defendant blow a court case? I once attended oral arguments for U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. It's pretty much the big time. I watched a lawyer argue that his client received what's known as ineffective assistance of counsel at the trial from which she was appealing. The attorney, however, was not doing a very good job during oral arguments. So at one point, one of the judges on the panel leans forward and asks him, "Counselor, are you currently providing ineffective assistance of counsel?" Lawyer was verbally running through the evidence against the guy he was defending, trying to claim there wasn't enough to even call a trial. All totally fine. Except he said, "I believe a more seasoned judge wouldn't have let this trial move forward." Not knowing that the judge he's speaking to gave the okay to move the trial to this court, he was immediately given a hard motion denied. My brother was on a jury back in the days of MySpace. A woman had been hit by a big rig during foggy weather. She was suing for a back injury. The last day of the trial, they asked her if she has a MySpace account and brought up her site for the jury to see. I think all profiles were open then. There's a picture of her dancing on the hood of a car, and right next to it is a text exchange of her saying that she shouldn't go out too much because her lawyer says that she has to look injured. Needless to say, she lost that case. A judge I worked for once oversaw a trial where a woman claimed to have been so badly maimed by a boob job that she could barely go out in public. The case had been going for 3 years to get to the trial. On cross-examination, the defense attorney for the woman's doctor spent 2 hours reading every one of the woman's tweets since the surgery allowed. Brought in blown-up pics of the woman's posts, of her in a bikini in Aruba and out at the bars for ladies' night in mini skirts and low-cut shirts. On a break, the woman ran out of the courtroom crying. 20 minutes later, her lawyer came back in and informed the judge she was dropping the case. I mean, what did she expect? Did she think that lawyers don't do their research? I don't think these type of people think at all. A funny historical one here. Marshal Ney is on trial for treason after Napoleon gets overthrown for the second time. His lawyer desperately tries to save the marshal's life with an unusual take on things. Due to a border change, Marshal Ney's hometown was, at the time of the trial, in Prussia. Therefore, argued the lawyer, Marshal Ney was not technically French and accordingly could not be guilty of treason. Marshal Ney disagreed and shouted out to the court, "I am French and I will remain French." He was subsequently found guilty and sentenced to death. This also has a double whammy with badass last words. He asked for and was given permission to lead his own firing squad. His last words to them were, "Soldiers, when I give the command to fire, fire straight at my heart. Wait for the order. It will be my last to you. I protest against my condemnation. I have fought 100 battles for France and not one against her. Soldiers, fire."
Talk about a way to die.
My father is an attorney, and he always had a story for us when we'd ask him this question. He tells it way better than I do, but I'll give it a shot. Some dude was allegedly smashing a wall with a sledgehammer with others in order to break sight into a private property. The cops rolled up, and he's the only one to get caught. Fast forward a few months, and this guy's in court. Apparently, a cop says something about how the defendant was the only one caught, but there were 2 other men who fled on foot and couldn't be apprehended. My father's client face lights up in an aha moment and immediately tells the judge, "Not true. There were 4 of us." I guess he thought if he could disprove someone that the said would be let go. Safe to say, he was found guilty of vandalism. My father says the judge just kind of sighed and told my father it would be a good idea to keep his client quiet. I observed a case where the plaintiff attorney played Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror as his closing argument to evoke an emotional response in the jury. He lost. I'm an attorney, and I heard about a hearing where there were several criminal defendants before the judge. The judge noticed a strong pot smell in the courtroom and asked if any of the defendants had pot on them. No one came forward, and the judge proceeded, but the odor became stronger and stronger. Finally, the judge demanded the perpetrator to come forward. Finally, one of them came forward and had several bags of weed on him. I'm not sure what the charges were before him that day, but I wouldn't want to have been his attorney. Who brings weed to a courtroom? I work at a courthouse, and while I haven't seen this specific thing, I am often shocked by the kinds of things people think are appropriate for court. ICP shirt, hitting your kid, and screaming at someone on your cell phone in a marble halfway are some recent incidents that come to mind.
I had a guy recently come in for a sentencing. He was really just a little punk who didn't do his community service hours. Couldn't figure out why the judge was being so frosty until I realized his sweater said, "Can't stop the crooks." Also, if I had $1 for every drug-related piece of clothing I've seen accuseds wear, I could quit and pursue my lifelong dream of translating and typesetting French comics. Lawyers, what was the dumbest thing that won or lost you a case? I had a fairly simple assault trial. Facts are a pretty basic. Homeless guy was told to leave by security and was ushered away. Homeless guy got upset and hit the security guard. We have some cell phone footage that shows this, but ultimately the key moment wasn't clear, and it could have been argued that the security guard touched him first. Defense counsel asks the defendant a few questions, then goes in front of the jury and asks him to essentially position her how the security guard was and reenact what happened. They more or less agree that she should be standing about arm's length away and pointing, like a typical, "Hey, you can go exist there, but this is private property" kind of thing. She then asks, "And what did you do?" My dude looks right at her and slugs her right in the mouth. Not even a gentle reenactment tap, but fully committed to trying to knock her out. Her lip is bleeding, and she looks shocked, like she was fully unprepared for it before sitting down. "Skeleton? Any cross?" Just briefly. "Sir, just to confirm, you hit the security guard just like that?" "Yes." "Up until that time, did the security guard ever touch you?" "No." "No further, Judge." I didn't even get out of the courthouse parking lot before I got called back for the verdict. Public defender in first felony trial, meth trafficking, where they had the whole exchange caught on video, including my client's alleged, face and his license plate as the exchange took place in his car. When arrested the next day, he still had the marked bills in his wallet. All I could argue was reasonable doubt. Probably isn't enough. He was facing 20 years because of his record. After 10 minutes out, the jury came back and asked if they could see my client's teeth. On the video, he had a bad case of meth mouth, but he had not testified, so the jury didn't get a chance to look in his mouth in person. The judge said, "Sorry, the proof was closed." They came back not guilty 5 minutes later. Spoke to foreman after. He said they were pretty certain it was him, but his teeth were so distinctive they wanted to see them to be absolutely certain. I asked, "What about the license plate and marked bills?" His brow furrowed. "That actually didn't come up back there, but yeah, I guess it was definitely him. Should we tell the judge?" It's too late. It's over. My uncle went to watch my dad, a defense lawyer, in court on 2 occasions. Both times, my uncle was identified by a witness as the suspect, dismissed and dismissed.
Your uncle's criminal appearance was your dad's secret weapon. Some people just have the look. I've been told I have resting "I'm going to murder you" face. I had a client when I was working in the clinic at law school. She had stolen pills from a hospital, and the DA sent me security camera footage. It was legit her, like 10 feet from a camera, looking around and shoveling pills in her pocket. I asked my professor how to approach it, and he suggests showing her the video. I did that, and her response was, "So, do you think I have a case?" She ended up magically finding money for a non-public defender and fired me. She ended up getting a few years in jail. I had a client charged with illegally camping on public land, aka being homeless in public. I moved for a dismissal at first appearance based on lack of probable cause. The municipal code defined camping as sleeping outdoors between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. I pointed out that the police citation showed that they ticketed my client at 8:30 p.m.
While shadowing a lawyer on a pro bono case as part of my studies, I sat down with him and his client before the trial, which was about the client allegedly having dealt drugs to minors. The lawyer told him 10 times, "When you don't have to answer, don't answer. Do not talk about anything regarding dealing drugs. When not spoken to directly, do not even think about opening your mouth and saying anything." 10 minutes into the trial, the judge said something along the lines of, "Defendant being accused of dealing drugs," and the client just straight up said, "Yes, I did it, but don't do it anymore." It was a rather short trial after that.
Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. In the meantime, check out the other ones. They're already waiting for you. Share your thoughts on this topic in the comments and tell your own stories. Wishing you a great day, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.